everyone. I think enough people are here now that we can get started. So as you can probably see from the Zoom thing, I'm Roshan, the current editor-in-chief of DoubleSpeak. Welcome and thank you so much for coming to our 2020 launch party. The world is really crazy right now in a lot of different ways, and I'm grateful that you all took the time out of your days to come here and celebrate poetry, translation, and diverse storytelling with us. A special thanks goes out to all of the translators, DoubleSpeak staff members, Kelly Writers House, and the Student Activities Council. Without all of these people and groups, the magazine wouldn't have been possible. Also, an even more special thanks goes out to Vivian, our senior editor, who did all of the organizing for this event. DoubleSpeak's launch party has always been one of my favorite things about the magazine. I think there's something really special about getting to meet all of the translators and hearing them read the poems that they worked so hard to translate. It's also always exciting to hear the poems read in their original languages, and it's always fun to see and eat all of the different foods DoubleSpeak members bring for the event. Overall, it's just a really great way to come together with other people and connect over poetry and translation. And because of all of that, I am so happy that we're continuing this tradition in the virtual space and that all of you are here to do it with us. So all of that being said, I think it's time we actually get started carrying everything on. So I'm passing things over to Vivian.
Thank you, Roshan, for the opening words. So hi, I'm Vivian. I'm the senior editor at DoubleSpeak. I just want to give us an overview of the plan of today. And so if you have seen the program, I posted in the chat. We'll begin with a short introduction to our staff. Everyone will go around the room, just say who they are. And then we'll delve into the bilingual reading, the most exciting part proper. We do have a huge lineup today. We have about 12 wonderful translators, and hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A nearing the end. So for those of us who are not familiar with how Zoom works, there's a chat function at the bottom of your screen. So you can send message to everybody. You can also send private messages to your favorite translator or your favorite staff. And throughout, because this is an online event, throughout the event, please feel free to grab your favorite snack or your own wine and cheese. We just ask you to kindly mute yourself while others are speaking. As Roshan mentioned, if you're doing this in the normal times, we'll have a potluck and bring food from around the world. But sadly, this is happening online and I can't bring you my favorite dumplings. And if you see the program, there's also a short 5-minute intermission in between where we'll all take a break and you can have the chance to talk to your translator privately. So without further ado, let's start with the staff introduction. I'll begin. I'm Vivian, and my Chinese name is Yuxing Wen, or rather Wen Yuxing. I was born in China, went to high school in Singapore, and then came to the US for college, and I just graduated. So like many people, I was drawn to translation because I love language. I love literature and different cultures. And I have a comparative literature degree, my bachelor's. And it was only later I realized that translation or literature is also about power. It's the power to speak and the power of being heard. Translation is just such an important but underrated part of it. So it's really my honor to serve as the senior editor, and I'll pass on the time to our staff. Shall we begin with Chardonnay?
Hi, my name is Chardonnay. I'm a rising sophomore at Penn, likely doing international relations. I wanted to join DoubleSpeak because I love, like Vivian, how translation can show bias and power. I love examining how, one, it tells a story and it tells the whole human story using different words, but then with slightly different meanings. My favorite word that I've thought of a lot recently is Ubuntu, from the Nguni Bantu languages of South Africa, which is basically human compassion based solely upon recognizing one's humanity and then respecting someone because of that. So very excited for today. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Heta. I'm a rising senior at Penn, studying health and societies as well as Hispanic studies. My primary language of translation is Spanish. And to echo what Chardonnay and Vivian have said, I was drawn to translation because translation opens the world up and opens doors to different cultures, and kind of gives you the tools to understand how words are constructed, the nuances behind them, and their cultural weight as well. So that's kind of why I joined DoubleSpeak my freshman year as staff editor, and I've loved it ever since.
Hi everyone, sorry, I just had to move because my Wi-Fi is terrible. Sorry about that. It's such a pleasure to see everyone, to be a part of this. I'm a rising sophomore, so this is actually my first DoubleSpeak launch party ever, and it's a special one. I came from France, and so I speak French, English, and German. And I just wanted to say that it's been such an honor to be a staff editor for DoubleSpeak this year. And I have the magazines with me, which is super exciting, but they're in the other room because I just had to move. I'm very sorry. Okay, there they are. Yay! They look so beautiful. They arrived in huge packages at my house, and it was such a delight to unpack them, and I've been addressing them, so I hope you will all enjoy them. They're very beautiful.
Hi everyone, my name is Kate. I'm a rising junior at Penn. I'm studying chemistry and material science engineering. I come from China, so I speak Chinese, Spanish, and I'm currently learning Japanese. And I guess what draws me to translation, like everybody already said, but I really enjoy the creative liberty between staying true to the original text and also making it sound natural and making it still sound poetic and beautiful in the new language. And I just really enjoy that process.
Hi everyone, I'm Nia. I'm a designer for DoubleSpeak magazine, and I'm a rising sophomore studying design. What really drew me to DoubleSpeak was, again, I know this is like kind of repetitive, but like everyone said, just studying languages and then also studying the differences and nuances between each language. And from a design perspective, I found it particularly interesting to design for different languages, especially since not all languages have the same alphabet or the same structure. And yeah, overall, it's been an amazing experience working with all of you. And so I'm excited to hear everyone read.
Hi, I'm Quinn. I'm a rising junior and I study English and Italian. I'm a designer and copy editor for DoubleSpeak, and what I really love about language is the process of becoming more familiar with a new language and being able to draw connections between like the languages you speak before and like this new language, and seeing the ways in which we're all like similar in the ways we speak and see the world, and also ways that we're different.
Hello. It seems like Roberts can't make it today, so I will go. I'm Stacy. I'm from the Bay Area, California, and the languages that I am both studying and also like to translate and read is Chinese, that is Mandarin, as well as Japanese. I was really drawn to DoubleSpeak and just translation in general because I think that translation is a crucial bridge between languages and cultures and people, and I think that that bridge is important also when we come to the world of international relations and exchange, which it relates to my major of international studies as well as business.
Hey, I'm Stephanie. I just graduated as a senior studying French and Francophone studies, and I've just always been interested in translation because as the daughter of Mexican immigrants, I've seen the importance of language and especially how it connects with culture and art.
Hi everyone, my name is Subin. I'm a rising sophomore and I'm planning on studying linguistics and computer science. And growing up, I grew up in Italy, Korea, and the US, and also traveled to a lot of European countries. And just moving around and witnessing a lot of the languages, I came to appreciate language in general. And later, I came to appreciate translation for bridging the gap between the languages and cultures. And I love being part of this translation process.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zane. I'm a staff editor and copy editor on DoubleSpeak. I'm also a rising sophomore studying both business and international studies at Penn. My primary language of translation is Spanish, so I've worked a lot on Spanish poetry this year, and I primarily joined DoubleSpeak to meet like-minded folks who are interested in both poetry and language.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me? Oh, it's the screen didn't change. Oh, sorry, just a brief note I forgot to mention earlier. As you probably noticed, this event is being recorded for people who just can't be with us at this precise moment. And we want to share it with the larger translation community. Just feel free to let me know if you have any concerns. And so as you see on the program, our Chinese translator Feng Yi unfortunately can't join us tonight. So we'll begin the bilingual reading with our very own Hedda. Hedda Patel is a junior at the University of Pennsylvania studying health and societies and Hispanic studies. Language for her is an extension of her interest in understanding people, the way they think, and the way their bodies interact with the world. Although this interest has largely manifested itself in her pursuing medicine, immersing herself in Spanish, and trying to pursue global health endeavors in Latin America, she has also found writing and translating poetry instrumental in her desire to learn more about the human condition. In her free time, she enjoys curating her Spotify playlists and bullet journaling. Hedda is bringing us a Spanish poem, Bitter Song. Hedda.
Thank you, Vivian. So I'll be reading Canción Amarga by Julia de Burgos. Nada turba mi ser, pero estoy triste. Algo lento de sombra me golpea, aunque casi detrás de esta agonía he tenido mi mano en las estrellas. Debe ser la caricia de lo inútil, la tristeza sin fin de ser poeta, de cantar y cantar sin que se rompa la tragedia sin par de la existencia. Ser y no querer ser, esa es la divisa, la batalla que agota toda espera. Encontrarse ya el alma moribunda, que en el mísero cuerpo aún quedan fuerzas. Perdóname, amor, si no te nombro, fuera de tu canción soy ala seca. La muerte y yo dormimos juntamente. Cantarte a ti tan solo me despierta. And now I'll be reading in English, Bitter Song by Julia de Burgos. Nothing disturbs my soul, yet I am sad. Something slow and dark strikes me, although just behind this agony I have held the stars in my hands. It must be the futility of touch, the infinite sadness of a poet's being, of singing and singing without breaking the unconquered tragedy of existence. To be and to not want to be is the war cry, the battle that squanders all hope, to discover that in the already dying soul, the miserable body still has strength. Forgive me, O love, if I do not call for you, for without your song I would be a dry wing. Death and I sleep together, but only in singing to you do I awake.
Thank you, Hedda. Another note, the sequence of the reading following the order of the print of the magazine. So in case you want to refer to the original or the English translation, feel free to do so. And I send the link to our online version in the chat. And next up, we have Kate Jiang, Kate Zhiqiao Jiang. chemistry, FC Barcelona, classic rock, in that order. Kate is a sophomore at Penn studying chemistry and material science and engineering. She enjoys translating poems because of the creative liberty between staying true to the original text and making the translation sound natural in a new language. And Kate is bringing us a Chinese poem, Diary. Kate.
Thank you, Vivian. Hi, everyone. So today I will be reading 日记, which is translated as diary by 孩子. 日记，孩子。姐姐，今夜我在德令哈，夜色笼罩。姐姐，我今夜只有戈壁。草原尽头，我两手空空，悲痛时握不住一颗泪滴。姐姐，今夜我在德令哈，这是一座雨水中荒凉的城。除了那些路过的和居住的，德令哈，今夜这是唯一的最后的抒情，这是唯一的最后的草原。我把石头还给石头，让胜利的胜利，今夜顷刻只属于他自己，一切都在生长。今夜我只有美丽的戈壁，空空。姐姐，今夜我不关心人类，我只想你。1988年7月25日，火车经德令哈。And then I'll be reading the English translation. Diary by 孩子。Sister, tonight I am in Delingha, enveloped in darkness. Sister, tonight I only have the Gobi Desert. At the edge of the prairie, I stand with empty hands, barely gripping a single tear when sadness strikes. Sister, tonight I'm in Delingha. It's a desolate city drenched in rain. Except for those passengers and residents, Delingha, tonight. This is the last lyric. This is the last prairie. I give rocks back to the rocks, let the victory belong to victory. Tonight the highland barley only belongs to herself. Everything is growing. But tonight I only have the beautiful Gobi Desert, nothing else. Sister, tonight I don't care about mankind. I think of nothing but you. July the 25th, 1988, train passing by Delingha.
Thank you, Kate. And next up, we have Jianing Zhao. Jianing Zhao recently graduated from Princeton University with a degree in Slavic languages and literatures and minors in archaeology, theater, and digital humanities. She enjoys Soviet rock music, homemade bubble tea, and climbing trees and rooftops. And Jianing is bringing us a Russian poem, rather unfinished poem by Vladimir Mayakovsky. Jianing.
Hey, thank you, Vivian. Hi, everyone. So just for some context, Mayakovsky is perhaps one of the most prominent revolutionary Soviet poets. And this series of poems was written before his suicide in 1930, and they were unfinished and unpublished. And in my reading, I'll kind of intersperse the Russian original and English translation. Любить, не любить. Я руки ломаю, и пальцы разбрасываю разломавши. Так рвутся года и пускают в маю венчики вострешных ромашек. Пускай седины обнаруживает стрижка и бритье. Пусть серебро готов вызванивают уймаю. Надеюсь, верую, вовеки не придет ко мне позорный благоразумный. She loves me not. I break my hands and fingers as others seize and release tete-a-tete petals of daisy into May. Let haircut and shave reveal the gray. Let silver ages resound all the way, but without ever bringing me, I hope, I believe, the shameful prudence. Уже второй. Должно быть, ты легла. А может быть, и у тебя такой. Я не спешу. мольными телеграмм мне незачем тебя будить и беспокоить. Море уходит вспять, море уходит спать. Как говорят, инцидент исперчен. Рыбовная лодка разбилась убыть. С тобой мы в расчете, и ни к чем перечен. Взаимных боли, бед и обид. It's almost 2:00. You must have gone to sleep. But maybe, like me, you also, alas, I wouldn't rush it. And with the lighting of a telegram, no, I have no reason to awake and disturb you. The sea goes to sleep. The sea goes freeze. Like they say, the incident is settled, spoiled, and soured. Love's gondola crashed against the mundane. With you, all accounts have been sealed. No point in tallying up mutual pain and hurt and grief. Уже второй, должно быть ты легла. В ночи млечь путь серебряный окою. Я не спешу. И мольными телеграмм мне незачем тебя будить и беспокоить. Как говорят, инцидент исперчен. Любовная лодка разбилась обыть. С тобой мы в расчете, ни к чему перечен. Взаимных бед и обид. Ты посмотри, какая в мире тишь. Ночь обложила небо, звезды данью. За какие вот часы восстаешь и говоришь веком истории и мирозданию. I know the power of words. I know the words' penetrating voice. They are not the ones applauded by the theater boxes. From such words, coffins break free from the earth, and with their 4 feet of oak stride forth, they could be discarded, unprinted, unpublished, it happens. But with titan reins, the word races forward and rings for centuries, and trains scrawl up to lift the calloused hands of poetry. I know the power of words. A seeming trifle, like fallen petals under dancing heels. But with lips and a soul, it's a man with a backbone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jianing. That's a wonderful performance. And next up, we have an esteemed professor from Penn who has also contributed to our magazine. And it's really, really wonderful that Professor Dan Amus is going to be joined by his son in doing the bilingual reading. And Professor Dan teaches folklore at Penn. He earned his BA in literature from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and his doctorate degree in folklore from Indiana University. Among his books are the edited volumes of folk tales of the Jews, folklore genre, folklore, performance and communication, and the diary, the epic of everyday life. His translations of Altman's poems appeared in Jewish Review of Books and Moment. Pardon my pronunciation. And Itamar Ben Amus is the younger son of Professor Dan and a Penn graduate in comparative literature. Itamar provided some assistance in the translation of this piece in helping fine-tune the wording in order to preserve the sense of flow and poetry found within the original version. He finds that this poem speaks volumes to the telling conditions for a culture to be born via the circulation of false information, especially in the world today. And that gives this poem renewed meaning and relevance. The poem is titled A Trial Race, translated from Hebrew. Sorry, Prof, I think you're muted.
You have to unmute him and ask him to start from the beginning.
אוקיי. תחרות לניסיון. 4 חירויות נודעות לתהילה החליטו בנשוב רוח סתיו כלילה לערוך תחרות בריצה לשם שחוק, ואשר תנצח זר יותן לה כחוק. אז ניצבו בשורה 4 לאמור, החופש מפחד, החופש ממחסור, וחופש הדת, וחופש הדיבור, וסביבן הקהל וראשי הציבור. אך בטרם התחילו אורח לרוץ, נתגלה יצור פלא, צולע וגוץ. איזה חופש מוזר, 5 במספר, שאפילו ברמז עליו לא דובר. ויגש מדדה על רגלו החיגרת, אל 4 חופשות הבנויות לתפארת, ויצחק ערמומי ויגד בקריצה, אתחרה גם אני עמכם בריצה. אז נשאו חירויות את קולן כמו נבל, ותשאלנה בבוז ורחמים, מי הנפל? איזה חופש אתה? ובמצמוץ ולפלוף, סך הנפל, אני הוא חופש הסילוף. צחוק ניתח מסביב כמפל המים, על הזה יתחרה עם קלות הרגליים, הוא יכרע, הוא ייפול, הוא יהיה לקלס, הוא חיגר, הוא גמד, הוא משול כחרס. אבל התחרות מתחילה, הצחוק תם. לאט לאט מתאבן הקהל הנדהם. רחבו העיניים, אילמה כל לשון, הסילוף, הפיסח, הגיע ראשון. עוד תחרות נערכת, עוד 2 תחרויות. שוב עובר הסילוף לפני החירויות. ובבואן אחריו למקום המסומן, חדלות הן כמעט להכיר את עצמן. אזי פחד נפל על 4 חופשות, ונשמע רק צקצוק שנהן הנוקשות, ויותר מכולן כנקלע בקדחת, רעד כידוע החופש מפחד. ובמרכז הסירה התייצב הסילוף, ויקרא, לי הכתר, אני האלוף. הסילוף זה טבעו, הוא מצניע פנים, הוא מתחיל בריצה למרחקים קטנים, הוא מתחיל בתחרות ניסיון, קו לקו, אבל בא מהמנו את כוח רגליו, ולכן אם ירשה לו העולם לרוץ, הוא יכול, החיגר הלזה והגוץ, לעבור כל תקוות לאומים, כל חלום, ולהגיע ראשון אל מטרות השלום. הנותנים לו לגשת לשדה התחרות, מנחילים למפרע תבוסה לחירות. איתמר.
כן, אבא, אני יודע. זה התור שלי. Once in the autumn, on a breezy day, the 4 freedoms decided to race. Just for fun, just for play, a wreath would be given to the one in first place. All 4 lined up at the start, the freedom from fear and the freedom from want, the freedom of speech and the freedom of faith, and a crowd to cheer and VIPs on the dais. They almost ran, but before they began, out of the blue, a strange creature showed up. A limping short fellow, a weird freedom 5, one we'd never heard of in our lives. On his lame leg, he hobbled, approached the famed 4 freedoms, and chuckling slyly with a wink in his eye, I would like to race too, said he with a smile. The freedoms replied as loud as they could, and asked in contempt and some pity, who is this dud? What freedom are you? With a blink and a snuff, the dud replied, I am the freedom to bluff. Their laughter roared like a waterfall. Will this one compete with those fleet-footed 4? He will stumble and fall be a ridicule to all. He is a short, lame fellow, nothing more. But wait, keep quiet. The race has begun. The laughter subsided. The crowd is stunned. Their eyes open wide, their tongues stilled, no trace. The freedom to bluff is in first place. Another race, then two more. The freedom to bluff is ahead of all four, and when behind him they finish the race, they hardly could each other face. Fear then seized the four freedoms, their teeth chattered so loud, and more than the others, in a feverish frenzy, the freedom from fear trembled like crazy. The freedom to bluff stood up in the ring, calling, "The crown's mine, I am the king." The freedom to bluff has his way. He is humble at first, beginning to run in short distance races. In trials, start to finish, he gains some strength, muscling up his legs. And if the world lets him, this shorty, fatty fellow will certainly overtake nations' hopes, nations' dreams, to come first and proclaim, "Peace is my goal, peace is my aim." Those who let him into the racing field ensure it's to him that freedom will yield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really wish to see everybody on stage. And because how quiet Zoom is, it's just really hard for me to gauge how I really love all of them. And it's just great how the whole range of mood and vibe and just resonance of these poems. So speaking of political and social significance, next up we have a Chinese poem of a different style and mood, which relates to the news and society in a different way. And our translator is Ke Jia Wang, who graduated from Penn in 2016 with a BSE in bioengineering and a minor in English. She has also received an MA degree in English, Literature, and Science and Technology Studies from the University of British Columbia, Vancouver. Her poem Disorientation was published in the Penn Review in 2015, and she's contributed Chinese to English translations to DoubleSpeak since 2014. Let's welcome Ke Jia Wang and the Chinese poem Grave News at Dawn, Great Tidings at Dusk.
清晨的噩耗，黄昏的捷报。张二棍。天下尚未大黑，初月如钩，悬挂着红彤彤的人间。落日把湖水沏成一杯普洱的时候，湖心的香，有人打着呼哨归来。堤岸上的垂柳和人群呢，忍不住颤抖。他们从斑驳的小机船上抬下一个湿淋淋的少女。是的，清晨的噩耗是一个少女的溺亡，而黄昏的捷报就是找到她的遗体。Grave news at dawn, great tidings at dusk. The world is not fully dark yet. The waxing moon, as if a hook, hangs the vermilion realm of men. When the falling sun had steeped the waters into a cup of the finest pu'er tea, one returns with a deliberate whistle from the heart of the lake. Those whipping willows and the spectating souls on the embankment cannot help but shake. They carry from the mottled mechanical boat the form of a dripping wet young girl. Yes, the grave news at dawn was the drowning of a young girl, while the great tidings at dusk are the discovery of her body.
Thank you. This might be a time for an early break, especially because our first contributor didn't show up. But personally, I feel poetry is a very compressed and dense form, and it really takes time to digest. So I would proceed to give all of us a 5-minute break, really short, and we'll come back after. And meantime, you can go through our online magazine, and if you like to read authors and translators' bio and translators' notes. So see you in 5 minutes. Hi, everyone. You're back. Thank you for your patience. This year, it's really our honor to be able to publish poems from Sinhalese. It is a language that none of the staff speak. Sorry, but it's really cool. And if you take a look at our magazine, the writing system is really amazing too, at least from my point of view. So next up, we have 4 poems by Ruang Bandojiwa, translated from Sinhalese by Chamini Kulatanga. Again, pardon my pronunciation. Chamini is a Sri Lankan translator working with contemporary Sri Lankan Sinhalese literature. She's a graduate of Iowa Translation Workshop. She was a visiting fellow at Cornell University's South Asia program in the summer of 2019 and was the former blog editor and the staff editor at Exchange's Journal of Literary Translation. Her work has appeared and forthcoming in the Los Angeles Review, Exchanges, DoubleSpeak, Bengaluru Review, and elsewhere.
Thank you, Vivian. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hi, I hope everyone is surviving these unprecedented, but at the same time, not so unprecedented times. I'm currently in a small university town in Texas. It's pretty quiet, I would say, in its own way. The poems I'm reading tonight are written by Ruang Bandojiwa. He's one of the most popular contemporary poets in Sri Lanka. Most of his poetry is about the often neglected masses in the fabric of Sri Lankan politics, and I believe, in a sense, they are related to the world at large. So there's a profound sense of the connection between the earth and the human beings in his poetry. His metaphors and images are mostly drawn from nature. To me personally, his poetry feels like as if you're holding a flashlight to not very visible existential realities of the human condition. I'll read the original followed by the translation. They're very short poems, as some of you may have already noticed. The first poem is Gadavillu. Piyatumani, Kimada Apenoyane, Wap Magul Ulereta, Rajatumat Evi Adakumburata, Harapiyame Munivata, Kia Payatunovida Oba Ownata, Apavisin Saravat Kalabau Me Pasa, Polo Kuhare Tula Sangavahinda, Kuda Gadavil Puta, Udalu Tala Ekate Purudak Meta, Handunagena, Pasa Sarukala Sahana Kalaunge Vata, Tavatava Taragena, Anduru Madatula Gidi Yanumisa, Ihela Edi Mahanaveta, Yamanu Sudusepata. And the translation is called Earthworms. Dear Father, why don't we attend the plowing festival? Even the king is coming to the field today. Shouldn't we break this silence and announce it is us who manured this soil from within the bowels of the earth? Little earthworm son, a hose blade knows not those who manured the soil and those who did not. Therefore, rising into the open air is unadvised. Drill your way deeper to the dark depths of mud. Doing otherwise, my son, is not wiser. The next poem, Sapaki Satutaki. Tavat ek pame khadanata, gihin ek kahu wenama venuata, upan kamatata pohora veneka, Sapaki Satutaki piduru gasakata. A joy, a bliss. Rather than joining in creating yet another scarecrow, decaying into the home field is a joy, a bliss to a stick of straw. And the next, Alla. Alla hondin handa palanda, avitayai kumburamada, beva areheni dinativa, me anduma mahapubava, kisima vikaralakata, alakianata tavama. Canal. The canal, dressed all fine and dandy, glides across the paddies. How the lake sewed its garb over sleepless nights. The canal hasn't breathed a word to a single grain of rice. And the last poem, Gasak Tamamal Amataki Kavir. Ganan Karabalo Vita, Tavat Malki Payak, Pipenatan Yemitava, Itirivi Atibavin, Kamatin Paravina, Kamati Malsitinam, Sulanga Enatakalin, Warak Atosaman. A tree to its flowers. Upon counting the remaining buds, awaiting to blossom, a tree said to its flowers, if there be flowers volunteering to wilt, raise your hand just once before the wind comes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And next up, we have an Italian poem translated by Carla Rossi titled The Holy Land. Unfortunately, Carla can't be with us today because of time difference, but Nadia Park, who is actually our former editor-in-chief, will be reading on her behalf. Nadia and Carla first met in spring 2017 when Nadia was a sophomore at Penn and Carla was there as an exchange student from Italy. They met in Professor Tage Silverman's course on poetry and translation. Translation was actually a bridge that created a connection between the two of them. Despite the distance, Nadia and Carla have been friends ever since. Nadia.
Hello, everyone. It's so great to see familiar faces. I wanted to first say I'm so proud of DoubleSpeak staff for creating such a beautiful magazine once again. Yeah, Carla decided to write that cheesy little note about our friendship. I can't actually read Italian. I can do other French, Japanese, and Korean, but so I will have Quinn actually read the Italian first, and then I will read the English.
Right. La Terra Santa. Ho conosciuto Gerico, ho avuto anch'io la mia Palestina. Le mura del manicomio erano le mura di Gerico e una pozza di acqua infettata ci ha battezzati tutti. Lì dentro eravamo ebrei e i farisei erano in alto e c'era anche il Messia confuso tra la folla, un pazzo che urlava al cielo tutto il suo amore in Dio. Noi tutti, branco di asceti, eravamo come gli uccelli e ogni tanto una rete oscura ci imprigionava, ma andavamo verso le messe di nostro Signore e Cristo il Salvatore. Fummo lavati e sepolti, odoravamo di incenso e dopo, quando amavamo, ci facevano gli elettroshock perché, dicevano, un pazzo non può amare nessuno. Ma un giorno da dentro l'avello, anch'io mi sono ridestata e anch'io come Gesù ho avuto la mia resurrezione, ma non sono salita nei cieli. Sono discesa all'inferno, da dove riguardo stupida le mura di Gerico antica.
The Holy Land, translated by Carla Rossi. I got to know Jericho. I too had my Palestine. The walls of the asylum were the walls of Jericho, and a puddle of infected water baptized all of us. We were Jews there, and the Pharisees were above us, and the Messiah was also there, lost in the crowd, a madman crying to heaven, all his love for God. All of us, a pack of ascetics, we were all like birds, and every now and then a dark net would trap us. But we go towards the masses of our Lord and Jesus Christ, the Savior. We were washed and buried. We smelt like incense. And then, when we loved, they would electroshock us. Because they said, a madman can love no one. But one day from my grave, I too have awakened. And like Jesus, I too had my own resurrection. But I did not rise to heaven. I went all the way down to hell, from where, astonished, I watch again the walls of the ancient Jericho.
Thank you, Nadia and Quinn. Sometimes it really struck me how translation is just inherently a collaboration, and we see that in readings as well. And next up, we have translation from Old Occitan by Samantha Pius, The poem is titled A French Minstrel and Italian Lady. Samantha Pius holds a PhD in comparative literature from Penn. Her translations from the French work of René Vivien appeared in the second edition through Headmistress Press in 2017. Her translations from the Middle French of Christine du Pizan will be released from Percy Books in 2021, and she is the managing editor of Indolent Books.
Hi, hi everyone. Can everyone hear me? Is this okay? Cool. So the poem is actually originally composed in 2 languages, Old Occitan, but it also alternates with a Genovese dialect of Italian. And it's spoken by 2 characters. One of them is the player, who is a male singer from Provence, speaking in Provençal or Old Occitan. And the second character is the lady, or Domina, as I call her, and she is from Genoa, Italy. So I'll just dive right in. Oh, also, the sense of humor, it's supposed to be a funny poem, but the sense of humor is a bit medieval, if you take my meaning. So just FYI. Domina, I've begged so long that you should love me if you want, since I'm your slave, your serving man, for you are noble and well-bred, and you provide all noble goods. Therefore, I crave your amity. You are, in all things, courteous. My heart is far more fixed on you than any other lady here. Wherefore I cry you mercy, sweet, and then I shall be better pleased than if the city keys were mine, with all the wealth they have in fine, the Genovese. Player, you are insolent. How dare you talk to me like that? Before I come to it, I hope they'll hang you from the gallows tree. Your sweet is what I'll never be. I'll geld you, pervert, Provençal. I tell you, nasty serving boy, I have a husband, handsome too, and more than you I know is he. Off, little fellow, I have got a better man than thee. Domina, discreet and noble, light of heart, upstanding, wise, instruct me, lady, in your ways, for you are led by youth and joy, and courtesy, esteem, good sense, and every worthy excellence. Therefore, I am your devotee. I could hold nothing back from you. Upright, modest, merciful, so ardently I've torn apart by love for you in pleasing pain. Thus it would be compassionate to choose me as your acolyte and your ami. Player, now it's clear you're mad to stick it out so stubbornly. You're not welcome. Go to hell. You must be dumber than a cat. You're so unpleasant, talking of such ugliness. I wouldn't do a thing like that were I the daughter of a king. Do you think I'm a fool like you? By my faith, you'll never take me. If you were bound to have my love, you'd freeze to death, yourself and all those infidels, those heretics, the Provençals. Domina, don't be so fierce. It isn't right. It's not your style. Don't take it badly, if you please, that in my way I should inquire and court you with a loyal heart and beg you'll end my suffering, since I'm your serving man, your slave. For I do. So I'll just start right there. Are you harassing me or not? If my husband finds you out, you'll have to answer to him, see? Player, it's true what I'm telling you. I don't like your Latin lingo, I assure you, little fellow. Beat it, dirty Provençal, and let me be. Domina, in such estrangement you have placed me, such dismay. Still, I'll beg for one thing more, that if you please, I might display how well a Provençal performs in the saddle. Player, I won't be with you, since this is what you think of me. By St. Martin, you should go to Sir Orsino, who will know, to mount you on a nag or ass, since you're an actor.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Samantha.
That's another wonderful performance. And again, I really wish we could see you on stage without Zoom doing weird things, but that was great. And next up, we have a poem translated from Arabic by Michael Karam. The poem is titled A Sun Did Not Rise. Michael graduated from Penn in 2017. Michael is a translator, writer, and poet living and working in Boston, MA. He grew up in Lebanon between a small apple-growing village and a Beirut suburb. He's fluent in Arabic and French, knows some Spanish, and is learning Farsi so he can read Rumi in his original language. He currently works in marketing and fundraising for a nonprofit news organization, the Ground Truth Project, which supports emerging journalists to tell undercover stories around the world. Michael.
Hello. Okay. Coming to you live from Lawrence, Massachusetts. Good evening, everyone. I'm just gonna go right ahead. والله ما طلعت شمس. الحسين بن منصور الحلاج. والله ما طلعت شمس ولا غربت إلا وحبك مقرون بأنفاسي ولا خلوت إلى قوم أحدثهم إلا وأنت حديثي بين جلاسي ولا ذكرتك محزونا ولا فرحا إلا وأنت بقلبي بين وسواسي ولا هممت بشرب الماء من عطش إلا رأيت خيالا منك في الكأس ولو قدرت على الإتيان جئتكم سعيا على الوجه أو مشيا على الرأس ويا فتى الحي إن غنيت لي طربا فغنني وأسفا من قلبك القاسي ما لي وللناس كم يلحونني سفها ديني لنفسي ودين الناس للناس. A sun did not rise. I swear to God, a sun did not rise or set unless your love was woven into my breath. And I could not be myself fully unless I brought you up between each sentence. And I did not mention you, gladly or sadly, unless you were in my heart among my demons. And I did not care to quench my thirst unless I saw your reflection in the glass. And if I could come to you, I would, seeking you head first or walking upside down. And oh, boy in the street, if you sing a ballad for me, sing it softly and sorrowfully from your stone heart. People call me an abomination. What do I care? My beliefs are my beliefs and theirs are theirs.
Thank you, Michael. Next up, we have a German poem translated by David Ting, A Bookworm. David recently completed his pre-medical post-bac program at Penn. He's currently working as a medical scribe and applying to medical school. In his free time, David enjoys cooking, playing the piano, and doing pull-ups. His languages are Chinese, German, and Spanish. This translation is a part of his genre-spanning biocritical fiction on the later poetry of Paul Celan. David also posts his cinema musings on Letterboxd, where you can find him under the name Lichtzwang, spelled as Lichtzwang.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great. Lichtzwang. That's actually the title of one of Celan's own volumes of poetry. Before I jump into the reading of the actual poem, I'm gonna say a little bit about his formidable sense for abstraction. Lichtzwang is actually quite a good place to start as an example as one of his neologisms. I'm Lesast, the poem that I translated. Lesast is a new word, Lichtzwang is a new word. Lichtzwang, light, and Zwang, meaning a kind of constraint, kind of duress. The word Zwang, unter Zwang, to be under duress, or Zwangsjacke, to be in a straitjacket. For the experience of Lichtzwang, it's this like deer in the headlights moment where you're trapped by your adrenaline, but also by the threat of something fatal. I thought, I guess as a kind of dark pun, to be trapped in a theater witnessing something, a spectacle of light, is another kind of Lichtfang in itself. For the compound word ein Leseast, it might remind you of the word cineast, like somebody who watches or enjoys or makes films. Leseast, however, refers most literally to reading, lese, and ast, branch. I explained further in the translator's note, because when you try to translate something too literally from Ceylon's warped, twisted German into English, you end up with a lot of puns that don't make all the way through. So Leseast instead of a physical branch, and reading branch, how does that work? I decided to title my poem Bookworm, so that you have something that crawls actually on top of the branch, but is still, connected in this literary sense. Other things to note, which are not noted in the translator's note. Another example is further down, ein flackernde Hirnlappen. That literally means brain lobe. Lappen also means like a cloth or rag. And so I was thinking, how can you transform this? Also, if I'm already transforming one part of the poem where you have like two pieces of a jigsaw, the English and the German, then Hirnlappen, instead of having the brain lobe, again, also in English, then you have a brain probe, something which is investigated or sunken in. But I'll read soon to note that there are two movements. Ein Leseast, the phrase repeats twice. First time, it's a kind of systole. You're moving outwards. You have a lot of space imagery. It's when you are reading something. It's basically what's happening to your mind as you really, really sink into a text. It's all you see. It's all you experience. But you hit a certain limit. You can't go any further. You've been saturated. And then the next phrase, the second phrase, is a movement inwards into one's own head, into this other mysterious creative space. But I'll read now. Ein Leseast. Ein Leseast, eine, die Stirnhaut versorgend, eine Lichtquelle, von dir schläfrig geschluckt, passiert das hungrige Wirtsgewebe, Seehilfe, schreifig, über mondbefahrene Rücksteuersonden, im Großen, im Kleinen. Erden, immer noch Erden. Hornhaut überzogene Basalt, Raketen geküsst, kosmisches Umlaufgeschau und doch binnen dein Horizonte. Terrestrisch, terrestrisch. Ein Leseast, eine, die Stirnhaut versorgen, als schreibst du Gedichte. Er trifft auf den Kartenguss auf, damals vom Blutklupenort, auf der Lungenschwelle, Jahr hin, aus Pilzen, Jahr rüber. Zeitwild von so viel leise gepressten Bonbon, Bonmeer, ein flackernder Hirnlappen, ein Meerstück hisst, wo du lebst, seine Hauptstadt, die unbesetzbare. A bookworm. A bookworm, one, feeds into your forehead. An illuminant which you drowsily gulped bypasses the ravenous host tissue. A visual implant, streaking over moon rovers, dash of backscattered light, in macro, in micro. Earths, ever still, earths. Cornea overdomed of basalt, irises kissed by rockets. Cosmic roundabout. And still, only landlocked horizons. Terrestrial, terrestrial. A bookworm, one, feeds into your forehead, but as you write poems, stricken by a postcard from those days, former blood clump site on the lung's threshold, a year shut from Pilsen, a year down, haywire with so much quietly smothered, bon vent, bonne mer, a flickering of brain probes, a slice of sea, hoisted where you are living, its capital, the inemptiable. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for the reading and also the introduction. A little plug for myself. You might notice I only focused on introducing the translators, not the authors. I'm not saying that the authors are not important. But for tonight, I really want to give more credits to our dear translators, who are usually the less appreciated group of people who are the co-creators. And all of the author's info and more comments about the original poem could be found in our magazine itself. And next up, we have 2 Thai translators. And again, apologize because I didn't get the chance to learn the pronunciation of their names. So we have Preaching to Women, translated from Thai by Puria and John, sorry. They are award-winning authors and translators who excel in creating English language rhyme schemes which echo those of their sources, while also accurately communicating the author's message. In 2019, their passion for literature and language led to their co-founding Inter-Thai Media LLC to create media that bring people together across languages and cultures. Inter-Thai Media's first project will be a picture book called Can You Carry Me?, which is slated to be published in English, Spanish, and dual language formats. Altogether, Puria and John have translated song lyrics, poetry, and more than 140 children's books. They last published with DoubleSpeak in the spring of 2019.
Hi. Ready? Yeah, ready. And you did a great job. You pronounced our names like perfectly. Okay. So I'm going to be reading Thai สุภาษิตสอนหญิง by สุนทรภู่ อันในตาพาตัวให้มัวมองเหมือนทำนองแนะออกบอกกระแสจริงไม่จริงเขาเอาไปเล่าแชร์คนรังแกมันก็ว่าในตาคมดังพฤกษาต้องวายุพัดโบกขยื่นโยกก็แต่กิ่งไม่ทิ้งที่จงยับยั้งชั่งใจเสียให้ดีเหมือนจามรีรู้จักรักษากายอันตัวนางเปรียบอย่างปทุมเมธพึงประเวทผุดพ้นชนละสายหอมผกาเกสรขจรขจายมิได้ไหวภูมิรินทวินปองครั้นได้ชมสมจิตพิศวาสก็นิราศแรมจรันพันพยองไม่อยู่เฝ้าเคล้ารถเที่ยวจดลองดูทำนองใจชายก็คล้ายกันแม้นชายใดหมายประสงค์มาหลงรักให้รู้จักเชิงชายที่หมายมั่นอันความรักของชายนี้หลายชั้นเขาว่ารักนั้นประการใดจงพินิจพิจดูให้รู้แน่อย่าทำแต่ใจเร็วจะเลวไหลเปรียบเหมือนคิดปริศนาอย่าไว้ใจมันมักไพล่เพลงคุ้มเป็นหลุมพราง
Okay, everybody. So what you just heard is the way a bard would have publicly, sung or performed the poem about 300-ish years ago, during the Thonburi Kingdom of Thailand. So just before the current capital of Bangkok. The English will be way more modern and a little bit less interesting. So I apologize in advance, but hopefully it's still entertaining a little bit. Ladies, your eyes can humiliate you. They broadcast your interest too. True or not, people care not a bit. If you're abused, they'll think you want it. You're like a young tree. When the wind blows, you'll see. You can be moved, but not unrooted. Don't show interest if he knows it. You're a blooming lotus, revealing your beauty to all of us. Your sweet scent is everywhere, and bees want you to be theirs. If the bees should taste a flower, they may then leave forever to fly and taste and others and go. Men are like that too, you know. If a man falls in love with you, all he will say and do, a means to capture you, that's his aim. But you should know men cannot ever be tame. Choose your man carefully. Do not rush, go slowly. Men are like puzzles. You think you know them, yet so little. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, tonight we have a Spanish poem, Just One Detail, translated by Ella Conejo. And we are also joined by the author tonight. Ella is an artist who takes translation as conceptual grounding for her interdisciplinary practice. She was born and partially raised on unceded Lenape land along the mid-Atlantic seaboard of present-day USA. She asserts that, like the labor or attunement of drawing and the labor or attunement of reading something for the second time, translation is a form of prayer. It moves something. Where that movement leads is as of yet unknown. Welcome, Ella, Karina.
I think you're still muted.
Yeah, I just fixed it. You can hear now? Okay. Hi, I'm Ella. I think that Karina, the author who I translated, just joined the call. So I'll introduce her so she can read the Spanish version. This is the book she'll be reading from. It's called ¿Dónde está la nuez para la ardilla? Where is the nut for the squirrel? A book of poetry, prose. She was born in Chile, lived in Chile, between Santiago and Valparaiso, and has done a lot of work in writing as well as editing. She runs currently a magazine in critical thought, politics, and art called Materia Oscura, Dark Matter. You can find it on WordPress. I found this book in a bookstore in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and translated it to submit to DoubleSpeak, and then thanks to y'all, the editors, who asked me to reach out to Karina about copyright, we've been in touch, and it's been really wonderful. So I'm thankful to this space for facilitating that connection. Karina, ¿estás? Let's see. Karina, ¿quieres leer?
Sí.
¿Sí?
Sí, ahí estoy. Primero
Muy bien, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola a todos. Primero yo, después tú. Solo un detalle. Sépanlo bien, no se aprende ni se enseña a escribir, no se enseña nada. Se aprende y se enseña a vivir, por eso escribir es solo un detalle de un vivir, anécdota de lo escrito. Solo hicimos lo que había que hacer. Subimos buscando el bosque porque la vida es fruta y el mañana es agua. Ante la lengua, ojo que encalla en los silencios bien guardados. Sí, tal cual, con todos los títulos que tengo, me sigo muriendo de hambre. ¿Iremos realmente a barrer calles? ¿Será eso lo que hay que hacer? ¿Esto era la vida? ¿Buscar algo que nos aburriera, soportar miles de tonteras o perder el tiempo hasta el cansancio? ¿Eso era? Seguimos siendo felices con lo mismo. Imágenes mientras la realidad nos sigue matando. ¿Ahora es peor o antes? No sé. Crecimos. Escribo. Me muero aquí. Cambié derecho por las letras, sin tener conciencia todavía. Cambié el dinero por ser pobre y una clase social por otra. No soy eficiente, no pongo límites a mis conversaciones, llego tarde a todos lados, tengo la casa revuelta de tanto papel, hago clases entre medio para sobrevivir, sobre todo anímicamente. Mi pasado está lleno y en calma ante un presente y un futuro fuertemente condicionado, precario y tumultuoso. ¿Es culpa o no es culpa mía? Sé que nos muelen a palos. solo hice que algunas cosas pasaran.
Gracias.
¿Cómo salió?
¿Cómo?
¿Cómo salió?
Sí, salió. Ahora estoy posicionando para ver si empiezo yo. Pero se va a caer mi celular. Okay. Just one detail. Know this. You do not learn, nor do you teach writing. You don't teach anything. You learn and you teach living. And as such, writing is just one detail within a living anecdotal to the written. We only did what had to be done. We climbed in search of the forest because life is fruit, and tomorrow is water at the tip of the tongue. Look out, it drowns in well-kept silence. If even with all the degrees I have, I'm still dying of hunger, will we really go and sweep the streets? Is that what has to be done? Is this life, searching for something that will not bore us, withstanding boundless bullshit or wasting time until exhaustion? Is that what it was? We stay happy with the same images while reality kills. Is now worse or before? I don't know. We grow, I write. I'll die here. I traded law for letters. Without yet knowing it, I traded money for poverty and one social class for another. I'm not efficient. I don't put limits on my conversations. I'm always late. My home is a whirlwind of paper. I teach classes here and there to survive, above all, energetically. My past is full and calm against a present and a future acutely conditional, precarious, and tumultuous. Is it my fault or is it not? I know they'll grind us down to sticks. All I did was make a few things happen.
Qué bonito. Gracias.
Oh,
Qué
thank you.
emocionante igual. Sí, me emociona.
I think that's a powerful ending of the bilingual reading sequence. Karina?
Karina, sí.
Sorry, the real reason I didn't read all the names is because I'll end up mispronouncing too many names. And so apparently we have some time for question and answer. And if you feel like you can type in the chat, or you can also just jump in. You don't have to raise your hand. If you have any question addressed to any translator, any staff, or the author.
¿Qué está preguntando?
Y si tiene alguna pregunta para los autores, en una ronda de preguntas en general.
Ya, ¿y?
Are we all just being really overwhelmed by the power of poetry? I'll say something first. I've said translation is collaborative, and the reading we had just now just reminds me of the so-called title of our launch party tonight, Unlonely. It's actually, if you read Roshan's editor's note, we borrowed the word from our interview with Emily Yun, whose translation and interview are both published in the magazine. I remember we were asking her about translating and publishing, and as we all know, with the pandemic going on, and people often say translation is a very lonely endeavor, and translators tend to get fewer credits. But Emily Yun was saying that translation somehow is the least lonely enterprise in the world, because you're constantly just conversing with the greatest minds coming before you and in different languages, and that was just really beautiful, and I think appropriate for tonight. And so, do we have any questions from the audience or from anyone? Go ahead.
Hi there. Thank you for all of the poems that you read tonight. They were really, really wonderful. I had a question on the two different kind of processes. So when you can collaborate with the original authors, such as Karina and Ella, what does that process look like versus when you are translating a poem for someone that you can't connect with or is no longer around? Does the translator then connect with other people who translated before, or how do you make sure that you are staying true to what the author is trying to say?
I don't have the answers, but I think at least how I approach it, or if I can't, get in touch with the actual author, there's often been other translations before that usually assist in guiding. Something that I find unique about translation is that you can make it as collaborative or as lonely as you want. And so sometimes when you're trying to translate something, maybe by telling another story, or for example, doing a feminist translation where you take work that might have been written in another time, very patriarchal, very chauvinistic, and, kind of remove that or make it empowering. So I think it's ultimately the translator's decision, and I find that you can shut the door or you can leave it as open as you want.
In our case, our poet's been dead for, I don't know, 300 years or so, maybe a little bit more. And so what we do is we go back to a little bit of the historical context. What did the words mean at the time? What was the point then? What was society like? And then we try to reconstruct how the author may have viewed the world a little bit as best we can. And then we can go from there as a starting point. And the cool thing about our poem is that it was written in a time of extreme anti-feminism. And as we went through our process to discover what the poem was about, we kind of discovered that it's a bit subversive for the times, actually, where he's actually kind of warning women about how anti-women society is and how they can, within their scope, can fight back as best they can, which is totally new. And I don't think anyone's ever, I've never read it that way before until we translated it. So it's kind of an interesting process to see how even when things don't look so good, you can find a nugget in there that's just kind of amazing.
Hey, with this question, there's something that comes to mind for me. Oops. Just thinking about our collaboration with Karina.
Ella, your video is off. No worries, it's all good. Zoom is the worst. So.
I think I'm back. I just wanted to share some thoughts. This book that we've been working on, that we've been collaborating on translating, is about 10 years old now. So in response to that question, it's interesting for me to also think of, even in the context where I, as the translator, have a lot of contact with the author, and we can talk through her ideas, and we can talk through like what she was thinking about and referencing at the time, it still seems in some way to be like a translation back for her, and maybe Karina, you can confirm this a little bit, but it also is a translation to look at one's own work that was done 10 years ago and rethink that and imagine yourself in that time and think about what you've moved through since then. So that's just to say that even in the context where you supposedly have all the answers, it's still an artwork that has its own life after it's been released into the world, and that's true, I think, even like immediately after you write something. That's all.
That point, think a little bit about languages change through the centuries as well. So even though something might be written in Old English, it's an entirely new translation process to make it quote modern or transcribe it to our times. Although I think that border, or that distinction between a different type of English than the one we have now is very fluid. But really.
We lost her. Hannah, we didn't catch the last part of.
Oh, did I disappear? I don't know where I left off, but I mean, it's just I was making a remark on of translation in addition to the geographic countries as well and languages.
I've got an interesting perspective from the Ceylon universe. Besides his poetry, he published, well, he had a couple of short prose pieces and like 1 or 2 speeches, 3 speeches, I think, published in his lifetime. But he has a collection of literary fragments that he was unable to put together the manifesto that he wanted, but just referred to as a Prosa aus dem Nachlass, or the unofficial title is Microlithen Zins Steinchen, little, like microliths, they are little stones. And he gets very mystical about the process of collaboration between a translator and the original poet. I don't have the text on me, but I think he gives something like 3 steps. And I'm sure some of you had felt this before, but he says like at one point, you're working through the poem and the poet will reach in and then help guide you towards the right words, almost like kind of like a dowsing rod or some, it is a kind of almost mystical experience. And then sometimes when you are going the right direction or when you're not, this thing will intercede. So there's some point at which you touch this, well, to use the word other in a very vague but also very deeply powerful sense, Ceylon is touching on something very, I mean, the vocabulary that he's trying to find for it is really strange, but very true. He also talks about translation as being one of the things in his life which kept him from committing suicide until he finally did in April 1970. I think it's in the poem Ein Buch aus Taurusa. It's like the second to last poem in his collection, The No One's Rose, Die Niemandsrose. But he talks about being able to cross the river, I think the Seine, and also a river in Russia with Mandelstam and some of the other French poets, which he translated while he was living in Paris. I mean, you almost have to hear his German poems in French. You listen for when a German word could be mistaken for something else, because it's a kind of like combined European Jewish identity. He's drawing from all of these different heritages and allowing himself to be mistaken for one or another. Yeah, there are examples I can think of, but I should let somebody else speak.
Do we have anyone else chip in? Or other questions?
Diola.
Bueno, igual quisiera comunicarme con ustedes, pero aquí el Rodrigo me va a traducir para que todos me entiendan.
Hi, I'm Karina's boyfriend. She'd like to say she's really grateful for this chance to read her poetry and to have had the opportunity to work with Ella, and it's really something emotional. It's very strong. Yeah.
Dile que nunca pensé que iba a pasar esto, que a través de Argentina y todo lo que hizo la ELA pudiéramos llegar acá.
Yeah, she says she would never have thought about that this would be possible. That this would have been even. I mean, this story is really crazy because we lived in Argentina for like a few months. We tried to live there for a few months, and we suddenly discovered this crazy bookstore. Like, it was in the middle of San Telmo. This, and it's like these old bookstores with everything is a mess. It's full of books, and we just drank. We got to talk with this with the bookshop owner. He was this guy who was like hippie, totally relaxed, and we drank mate there. And we talked, and finally we just left some books there. See, because we had brought them over, and we had to return really fast. So we left them some of the books there.
Que es un apoyo al pueblo norteamericano desde el sur del mundo para lo que acaba de pasar con la discriminación y también en la pandemia.
Yeah, and she's Karina's telling me that she's sending her tribute to what's happening over there. We had with this really disgraceful news about the death of George Floyd and what's happening about with the COVID-19 epidemic. So she's sending her regards.
Y que todo esto ha sido gracias a Ella.
And this all has been thanks to Ella.
Thank you, guys.
Que se agradece a la revista.
And we're very grateful for to the magazine, to the project.
Un honor para mí.
It's an honor for her.
Thank you. It's our honor to have you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to our translators who didn't have the chance to talk more about your translation or your author, because I gave you the time limit 6 minutes, I'm sorry. Do you have anything to add and you want us to know more?
Los traductores no pudieron hablar sobre sus traducciones o los poetas traducidos y que...
Okay, if we don't have further questions. Roshan, are you gonna say something?
Oh, sure. So, first of all, like, thank you all so much for coming. This was like probably one of my favorite launch parties so far. Everyone's like reading was so beautiful, and like all of the poems you read were really, really great. And it's also, sorry, I like saw my mom. It's also really exciting to have like one of the poets here. It's really great to see, I guess, sort of like translation like in real time. Yeah, so this is like a really amazing event. I'm so happy you're all here. The way we usually end this, I think, is by like announcing like the next editor-in-chief and senior editor. So I'm going to do that. So our next editor-in-chief is Hedda, who you heard speak a little earlier and also read. Ooh, yay.
Yay, Hedda! Sorry, I had to jump in.
And our next senior editor is Kate, who also read earlier.
Yay, Kate!
So if either of you guys want to say anything, feel free to, but also we can end here if you guys would like.
I would just like to say thank you to everyone, to our contributors, to staff who have really enriched my understanding of translation, and being a part of a collaborative community, allows for discourse and conversations that, kind of widens our understanding of what it means to be a citizen in this world today, with access to a lot of different cultures and our responsibility to them as well. And I think that being a part of DoubleSpeak has shown me even more than ever how powerful language is, how powerful words are, and their incredible weight and meaning. And so being a part of a community where I can take that little part and maybe making something more accessible to another part of the world is incredibly meaningful. And I can't wait to see where DoubleSpeak goes on this journey next year. But thank you to everyone for coming out tonight.
Yeah, I think what I have to say is mostly the same as Heather already said. I guess one thing is just thank you all guys for coming. And one thing I really love about DoubleSpeak is this community we have with all the staff members and authors and translators. I guess like for me, as I was working on copyright stuff and reach out to publishers and sometimes even authors, I realized just how much translation can bring us together through this journey that DoubleSpeak brings me. So I'm really happy and excited to share this with more people in the coming year. And yeah, let's just all keep in touch and hopefully see you guys all next year too.
This was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
From the Zoom meetings I've been to, like events, what people tend to do at the end is ask everybody to turn on their camera just so we could say bye together, but no obligation. But of course, we're really like glad you stayed till this very end. I know it was long, but if you could turn on your camera, and Yosha and I and maybe some others will just hang out here for a little longer if you want to chat. And I also posted our email address in the chat in case you don't have it. So we're currently, as Julie was showing earlier, we're mailing the prints to all the contributors and to the audience. If you want a copy too, feel free to email us your mailing address. We don't promise to deliver immediately, but if we get a chance and we have more copies, we'll get it to you too. So,
and then also hopefully in the future when we can be on campus again, they will be available like at Kelly Ryder's house probably. So like you will get a copy if you want one at some point.
Can I also say one more thing before we all leave? DoubleSpeak is not like 20, 30, 40 years old. I think it's only like 10 years old. And I remember the previous editor-in-chief before me too, our goal was to just let more people know about this magazine, to have people from other countries be able to see it. And that was simply our goal at that time. But the fact that we have a poet here herself, and just so many more languages. Like I remember looking at DoubleSpeak when I first became a freshman and seeing Korean I don't think exists maybe once in the past 4 editions, or Japanese once in the past 5 editions. And so just to see so many more languages and so many more contributions, it's very heartwarming. So thank you all again.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks to everyone.
So
Thank you. Bye.
that's it. Bye. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for organizing this. Take care, everyone.
You too.
You too.
Thank you. Bye. Esta Laila.